Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. And today, my special guest with me is the Transformers Earthrise Leader Class Astrotrain. This figure came out about 4 years ago. I got him when I went to Universal Studios with my best friends back in 2021. It was a really fun trip. I still remember it very clearly. It was my first time going on Transformers The Ride. I got to meet the interactive Optimus Prime, and I picked up this figure at the Transformers Supply Vault store. I really loved it. It reminded me of Toys R Us. The only downside to that store is that just like any other store in any theme park, everything's going to be overpriced. So what's normally a $50 figure wound up being $80 over there, but the cashier was nice. She gave me a 20% discount. I really loved that. That was cool. So anyway, let's take a quick look at Astrotrain. I have him here in his train mode, and I want to start off with the train mode because I am a huge fan of trains. I grew up collecting model trains, and I still do. Not as much, but I still do. So Astrotrain has been one of my favorite characters for many years because obviously he's a train and I love trains. So let's take a look at the details. So nice purple, typical Astrotrain colors, black and purple, with of course some charcoal gray in there. Just take a look at the details for his locomotive mode. The wheels right there and all the mechanics and the bars for the driving wheels. I really love the attention to detail they have on this figure. Nice Decepticon symbol right there on the side. I believe the original Astrotrain figure was inspired by a Japanese steam locomotive. This one is more Cybertronian inspired, but it's still cool. It really looks cool. Right there, the pistons, more purple, and the driver's cab. You can barely see the boiler. It's not as cylindrical as it should be, but it's in there. You can see it, it's in there. And then the coal tender back here. I call it a coal tender because that's what steam locomotives carry, coal tenders. And so yeah, it's a really cool looking train mode. I love it. Let's remove his guns. Let's take a look at the bottom of the figure. You can see his head is right there, how everything's going to turn out in robot mode and in shuttle mode. The coal tender can detach. Just plugs in right there in the thrusters. And the coal tender is actually storage for more weapons. You can put all 4 weapons in there if you want. You can plug them in. There's a way to plug them in, but I'll show that off later because there's more to this thing than meets the eye, no pun intended. So yeah, it's a nice little coal tender with some caterpillar treads there for the shuttle mode, because it eventually becomes a launch pad for his shuttle. So yeah, a nice little additional feature that they made for this figure. I do love that they gave him a coal tender. And then there he is without it, just, you know, your typical G1 Astrotrain without a coal tender. And on the back, the big old thrusters. So let's get him into his shuttle mode now that we've seen his train mode. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to shift this piece upward. That can be really hard to get undone when going into the train mode because it locks in very tightly. Then we're going to come back here and untab the side wheels. They're on these panels right here. And then you want to take these wheels right here and they are going to rotate to the back. Same thing over here. Get those wheels, rotate them to the back. And then you can bring down the wheels and tab them into place. Bring out the wings. Bring out that flap first. And then bring out the wings. So now, we're going to take these pieces here and split them open. And then we're going to want to split the midsection of the locomotive. Let me raise the camera up. There we go. And then we're going to take the smokestack and the headlight, rotate it inward, do the same thing over here, rotate the headlight and the smokestack inward, and then we will rotate the nose cone out. Come on. Come on, come on. Oh, that's my mistake. Make sure there's plenty of room to rotate the nose cone out. My bad. Fuse the nose cone together. And then we're going to take these pieces here. And they are going to fuse together nice and tightly. And then right here, we're going to lift up this flange. Lift up the flange. Bring that out. Come on. So that will cover up his visible head. And there we go. There's Astrotrain in his shuttle mode. Now, it's not the best looking shuttle mode because the front looks good, but then the back makes it look like an unfinished project. It's weird. It definitely is weird, but it still looks like a good G1 Astrotrain. I love it. I still love it. It's not a deal breaker for me. So take a look at the details again. Nice Decepticon symbol right there on each wing. Carrying on the Astrotrain tradition of keeping those Decepticon symbols on his wings. And some nice purple outline for the side of the wings, that same purple going all throughout his body. Right here you can see more of the gray paint as opposed to the train mode, which is all purple. And I do love the attention to detail on the gray paint, especially right here where it looks like he's got scratched up details. It's like maybe he was crash landing and he landed upside down instead. That was probably from an accident. But I do love that detail. I love it. And then on the bottom, you can see all the purple from the train mode. Now, for some extra playability, let's bring in the coal tender. And what you can do is you can open it up from the top, bring out the weapons, and then the whole thing will spread open to become a launch pad. There you go. There's two ways to use this. Oh, I spun it. You can leave him right there, so that way you can carry him out, but I don't really like how that looks. It looks kind of weird. Personally, I prefer to use it as the launch pad that it was designed to be. So just plug that in right into the thrusters. Come on. Work with me. Work with me. There we go. Plug it in. And let me raise the camera. There he is on his launch pad. That to me is amazing. I don't know what it is about this. I really love this as a display. It's really cool. I'm glad that they incorporated this into the figure. It's for more playability, and it's for good displayage. I love it. I have no complaints about this at all. I love it. And of course, you can arm him up with his weapons. He's got, I guess it's like a rocket launcher. The instructions say to plug it in right here. Really don't know what purpose that serves, but oh well, whatever. And just plug in the weapons right here on each side. And I guess these are more for plugging into his wings. And there you go. He's fully armed and ready for blast off. So that's cool. Let's take a look at it from a 360-degree spin. A really nice looking launch pad. All right, now let's get him into the robot mode. My advice, do not plug it into the thrusters all the way because it does like to latch on very tightly. Let's set that off to the side for now. Remove his weapons. And take off that piece there. Set him up to the side. Okay, now I usually like to start off by bringing down the fin. And then untapping that, bringing this down, and plugging that back in. We see his face right there. We can already see the face. So now we're going to crack this open. And then we want to, first thing you want to do is split the legs apart. The thing with my copy is everything loves to lock in super tightly. There we go. Had to do that a bit off camera. So now we're going to rotate this actually no. You're going to keep it like that. You're going to keep it with the nose cone out like so. Hold on. I cannot seem to remember. Do we rotate the nose cone? Yeah, no. Okay, so don't make the mistake that I just made. Keep the nose cone as it is, and then bring these over. Bring the legs over, plug them in. There we go. And now all that's left to do is take the feet, bring them out. There we go. Rotate it around, and then it's going to, you kind of have to stretch it out a bit so that way that goes into place. Same thing over here. Take out the feet, rotate it around, and then push that in. So the entire bottom section is now done. All that's left to do is work on the top. The only thing I don't like about this piece of transformation here is these bits right here. They do lock in very tightly. And as you can see, there's already plastic starting to crack through from the pin that is in there. I do not like that. I feel like as time goes by, you can see right here, the plastic is already cracked. I feel like as time goes by, that's going to eventually break off. Yeah, the pin in there is already starting to break through the plastic. I'm really disappointed about that. That's the only real complaint about this figure that I have. These things are just way too tight, and it puts too much pressure on that plastic. So, oh well, but hopefully it doesn't ever break on me. So we're going to come over here to where the thrusters are. Untab them. Untab. Come on. There we go. Bring them out to the back. And now we're going to take, let me raise the camera. And now we're going to take this entire wing assembly. It's going to detach and come down like so. Now, all that's left to do is work on those arms. Bring down his arms. Tab them into place. Tabbing the shoulders into place. There we go. And then the forearms, they will unravel like so. And then just rotate the forearms at his bicep, and his fists are inside the forearm. Just flip it out. And there you go. There is Astrotrain in his robot mode, and I love it. It looks like the traditional G1 Astrotrain, with some tweaks here and there, nice updates, a nice updated version. And what I love most about this figure is how there's a lot of molded in detail all throughout his body, everywhere from the shoulders to the forearms, his abdominal region, his chest region. So much molded in detail, giving him a more Cybertronian appearance. And again, I love that scratched up detail right there. It looks really cool. Maybe it's even plasma burns for all we know. It's right there on his feet too. Let's take a good 360-degree spin to look at him. All of the shuttle gray is up front. All the train purple is on his back with some nice chrome for the thrusters. I do like that. I like it. So yeah, let's take a look at his face sculpt. Nice silver for the face with glowing red eyes and yellow right there for the forehead. And more of that purple around his headpiece, purple right here for these bits here. Everything about this figure is very G1 accurate, with some nice updates to it, of course. And then we can bring in his coal tender back, close it up, and let's just focus on his weapons for now. He comes with all these guns, and what you can do with these guns is you can take these two here and plug them in so they become his rifle, a nice big rifle. And you can take these two guns as well, plug them into either side, and then take this rocket launcher piece here, plug it in the bottom. Oh, it goes like that. There we go. And they'll become a really big gun. I'm not a big fan of that. I really don't care much for that, so I just leave the two plugged in so it becomes a big rifle for him. But you can store these weapons anywhere on his body, even on the back, right here in the thrusters if you want. However way you please. And you can take this piece here and plug it in on his shoulder. That's what the instructions say. So yeah, there's Astrotrain in his robot mode. And there is another feature where you can take this off, split this apart, and you can plug these onto his feet. I guess it's like a super mode of some sort. I'm not too sure. And that just sort of bumps him up in size. It's okay. I don't really care too much for that, but it's pretty cool. And there's really not much you can do with the coal tender in this mode. I guess what you can do is, you know, continue to have it out as a launch pad or even a small command center. So you can plug in the weapons there too. So yeah, it's a really cool figure. I do love it. It's one of my favorites. You know, he's not perfect, but there is no such thing as a perfect action figure. If you love him, pick him up. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening.